Good afternoon, everyone. Just before logging off for the week, I took a phone call from an individual who was very excited because his employer wanted to sponsor him for a visa. And I thought I'd make a video about this topic because this individual was in the United States and has been in the United States for a very long time without status. And even if he had entered with a visa, which he hadn't, getting your employer to sponsor you is usually the easier part in qualifying for an employment-based visa. And that is because usually the bigger challenge is that you've accrued unlawful presence in the United States. And most employment-based visas, and in most situations, you're going to have to leave the country for your interview. So even if you find an employer who wants to sponsor you, even if you meet the requirements for that particular visa, if you have been in the United States for an extended period of time without authorization, even if you entered with inspection, you're still going to run into this roadblock of having to leave the country for your interview. And after you've left, because you've accrued unlawful presence, you're going to have a bar of inadmissibility that you're going to have to overcome with some type of waiver. And the reality is that if you have a qualifying relative that would be able to seek a waiver for you, that relative probably would have applied for your green card to begin with. In other words, there is no waiver of unlawful presence that an employer can file for you. That only can be filed by specific relatives who are permanent residents or U.S. citizens. So in most cases, if that is the case, you're going to have had your family members petition for you prior to, your employer doing the visa application anyway. So I hope this answers kind of some doubt. It's a super common question I get. Hey, my employer wants to help me. How can he help? And 99% of the time I have to say, I'm sorry, but he probably can't help because despite his or her willingness to help, you are more likely than not going to have to leave the country, and then you will be barred from coming back for 3, 10, or longer, or 20 years, perhaps longer, depending on how long you've been in the United States.